Hello and welcome. My name is Fake Fairy Tale and this is the second video in the Let's Build a Cave series. Last video we ended with the water and applying some shadow pathing around the ridges, and what I want to do now is continue adding some depth and elevations throughout the cave. So one of the most difficult things I find to do in caves is make them look interesting and make sure that it's not just rock everywhere and that you have some variety in the surroundings. But one way to tackle this is by applying some height elevations, which are quite likely to be in a cave anyway. And we're going to do this by using a cliff cave thin or any of the other really. And we're going to use a variety of widths to build in a few of these elevations. And we want to make sure that this area stays lower than the surrounding area, of course, otherwise it wouldn't make sense that the water collects in that area. And for the other sections, we will just apply some pathway. So we'll add in two larger ones to indicate that that's like quite a significant elevation change. People could be ascending in from the cave. Descending, I'm sorry. And we can also apply these around the edges, of course. You can have another exit over there if you like. And then we'll scale it down to add in some smaller ridges. I have to make sure that they are pointing in the right direction, of course. And we will just add in a few more here and there. Let's provide one here as well, and let's make sure that it's not too thick. And I continue through that side, and we're going to add quite a few of these elevations here and there. And at first it might still actually look a little bit weird, but when we add in some shadows to indicate areas that are lower than the rest, I think it will all start to make sense. I don't often apply this technique. I kind of figured this out in between the videos when I was looking at it and trying to figure out how to add some variety in this map. I decided to play around with one of these ridge tools, and I actually quite liked the effect that it gave me, so decided to just roll with it. Let's see, does this make sense? Going down, going back up. Yes, that's all right. Maybe we want something here as well. The other way around. That's already looking good. Let's add some over there. And maybe add a little side step. Over here. That way we also have to make sure that these look a little bit higher. So we'll just add in another row. There we go. I think that works. And let's add one around the edge here as well. Now, secondly, we're going to add in a floor pattern for pebbles, just to break up the otherwise quite boring floor. Let's see, is this? I think that works. That works quite well. Maybe we can just add these in. Shouldn't be too much, so maybe we'll just do it like so. Not too much of the pebbles, otherwise it will look very messy. Well, I would like to have some of them pop in. Yes, there we go. And after this step, we will be adding in some rocks, of course. Can't have a cave without a rock. Without a few rocks. And especially around there. Might even add in a second layer. to indicate that there are a lot of pebbles lying around. We'll continue on with some of the larger rocks in the cave, and we can actually add in some more pebbles with this tool as well. I actually used this a lot before I started using the pattern, so we can still place down some more pebbles in the areas that we have some rocks as well. Make sure that they're all the way down on layer 1. And let's see what kind of rocks we want. I am tempted to use the brown rocks also because we already have some brown stones over here. And if we use the gray ones that Forgotten Adventures has, these, the whole cave becomes very gray, and I think it looks better to have some variety in color tone and color palette. I prefer that better than having the whole cave be very uniform in color. So we'll be adding in some stones here and there. Make sure that we have sufficient variety. You could use the scatter tool for that if you like, though I prefer to just place everything down by hand. It's quite tedious and it takes a lot of time, but that way I'm sure that everything is where I want it to be, and I can still be very picky, so having the scatter tool do it for me doesn't always work, for me at least. So we want some rocks near the water as well. We could, you know, add in maybe 1 pillar or 2 pillar-like rocks over here. It could be something people jump onto, or it could hide some kind of treasure at the back. Let's not make them too big, but it's okay if they have some size. Or we could use the... Let's see if this works. I'm gonna do a little test here. You have the shadow pattern, and especially the 100 is very dark. We could use that to open up the top of this rock over here and help make sure it conveys the message of it being I forgot to put it on the right layer, of it being a pillar that reaches all the way to the ceiling. And let's follow the edges around here. And let's see how that looks. We are going to have to edit some points here. No, I don't like it that much. I prefer it to be... Let's just Control Z and undo all the way to the back. I think I like this better. So we'll add in a few smaller... It is an option though. Sometimes that really works and it looks really cool, but not every time. And it really depends on the map they're in as well. So we'll add in a few smaller rocks and to fill up the area. I don't like the flat ones. And we can add some water pathing as well, like we did around the edges over here. But place it around the rocks. I think that will look neat. So for the side over here, for the water side, there we go. Take one of the larger rocks. I don't want to block the pathing, though it could be interesting. But let's make it just a very small path then. Because that could be very interesting for a combat encounter. And we'll just keep placing down some rocks. I'll continue putting some rocks, placing them down around the cave system and see what I can work with. I'll be back with you guys in a few minutes. So hang in there and see you in a little bit. Alright, and we are back. I decided to start using a lot more pebbles and rocks to make it look a bit busier and have a bit more going on for itself, because otherwise the map still remains quite empty. And I decided to add in some additional ridges as well. It's going to be very busy right now. However, if I think we're gonna, when we're adding some shadows and some lighting here and there, that we can the focus on the pathways, darken out the rocks themselves a little bit, so they're a little less in your face than they are right now. So for the next few bits, I want to add in some, perhaps a few old crates or a few pieces of broken tooling, like a pickaxe that is standing or lying around somewhere. Let's make sure that the skill is on 1. There we go. Like at some point somebody here was searching for perhaps coal or other valuable gems and rocks. You can put it in this corner. Let's see which side is the most empty. Let's do it over here actually. And it doesn't have to be too obvious. We can have some things lying around. We'll add in a few planks. And these kind of signs that there has been some activity here at some point in the past. It doesn't have to be a lot. So we'll add in, well, you have a few planks over here. Plank over there. Maybe we can add in a pallet. If we make it all grungy and dirty, that could work out quite well. Let's see where we're going to be placing you. Say over here. And unfortunately, we don't really have anything like a broken crate that would work really well right now. But we can do one of these open, the open crates. Place that on layer 2. We'll just make it a bit smaller. Place it over there. We'll take another light brown crate. And we'll place a few things on top of each other. Now, what I want to try is using the blood texture, or sorry, object, with a high opacity to make them very dirty. So let's say if we use black and we turn down the alpha value, we can already add in a few hands and these little details. Those are footsteps, that's not what we want. And we can place down these stains that could indicate dust. We'll also add in a few bits of green and have it look like it's been covered with moss. So let's take some of the texture, moss, over here. And it already starts to look like it's very old, so that's exactly what we want. Those are some claw marks. Actually, that could work. If we take brown and we turn the alpha value down again. Now we have to make the claw marks a bit darker. And now we want some tools that we can put in the crate. We'll cover that up with some... Let's see if we can get something smaller. And something that actually makes sense. We should also place it on... scale it down to 1. Oh, we can have some chisels. Work. And let's see, we'll add in a smaller one. But we want the rusted, of course. Otherwise they will look way too fresh. If we want them to be abandoned here for a long time. And we'll just add then that over here as well. Maybe some sack of coal. Or we can just actually do some coal spills. Or both. So we'll add in a sack. Place that down on layer 1. Maybe, yeah, if we place it like so, and we'll add in some coal. We'll place that underneath. I want it to be the darker ones. There we go. And maybe add in a shovel. And now we have to make sure that these are properly darkened and bloodied. Or dirty, actually. Let's see over here. Can make it a bit smaller and we'll make it black. And have some kind of coal soot over it. And if we put that at the bottom, we can also do that around this area. And we need something again for over the tools. That looks quite sufficiently dirty. And if you take a shadow path, what we will do next is tone down the brightness of the tools, because we want to create the impression that they're inside that crate. By adding in some shadow pathing that is quite dark. So let's use this one. Make sure it's on fade in and fade out. We can play around with it a little bit, see. Perfect. Now I want to tone down these planks as well. Make sure that they're not too bright. And there. All right, perfect. We also still need to add in some pathing around the rocks. There used to be actually assets that had it included in there, but you can just as well make it yourself. Now, this is always the shadow path that I find hardest to find. We'll keep it on fade, so it will connect better with itself once we're back at the point that we started. Sharper turn, there we go. And we'll do the same thing over here. Good. I'm going to look through the objects that I still have here. I want to add in a few more little scenes like these, potentially with some crates or some broken mine carts. I'm going to have to quickly see what I want to place where. And what I also want to do is add in a little bit of vegetation around the water area, where, well, a lot of plants wouldn't be able to grow here, but maybe a few small ones. They'll be quite brown and dead already. We'll add it in there as well. And after that, I'll continue on with the rocks and making them a little bit darker. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like, favorite, or subscribe button. In the next videos, we will continue adding in some more vegetation and, well, everything I just mentioned. So thanks again for watching, and see you in the next video.